My mind is blown. So this felt like a soothing balm to my soul. He is determined to win her back. And I have heard a lot of good things about this book. It was like a toddler throwing tantrum sometimes. We have another point of view for Wolf. Cry like a little baby. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Madhu, aka your chaotic book mom. We had an amazing November reading month. You guys, I'm not even kidding. Now you might be asking, Madhu, are these the only books you read in the month of November? No, obviously not. We also listened to a shit ton of audiobooks this November because we were getting everything ready for bookmas and doing other chores around the house as usual. And we love audiobooks. We do not do chores around the house or do other things or multitask without an audiobook in. So you might have guessed right, these are not all the books that I read in the month of November. Somehow we have managed to read 16 books the past month. My mind is blown. The power of audiobooks. Since December would be a really busy month, I don't know how much I can get done reading wise. So I'm really happy with how much I've read in the month of November. We did have some letdowns when it came to some anticipated releases, but we are not going to talk about that. We are only going to concentrate on the 5 stars we managed to read in the month of November. So without further ado, let us talk about all the books that we read in the month of November. We started off the month really good by reading The Wizard's Bakery by Gu Byung-mo. This book follows a runaway teen who has always been neglected in his own home, and he's always known only abuse, emotional and physical. So he takes refuge in this 24/7 open, overnight open bakery where things are not what they seem. The baker is weird, the girl who works there is also weird, but he goes there every day so that he can escape his reality, that is his home. So we follow his point of view and what he's going through. We see his relationship develop with the baker, with the girl who works there, who's aptly named Bluebird. And there are a lot of triggering topics involved in this book. Please don't be fooled by this very beautiful cover. It does deal with trauma, abuse, and a lot of other things that I don't want to mention here. But please do check the trigger warnings if you plan to pick this up. But this was such a satisfying read in a way. The ending is not really open to interpretation, but it does give that vibe. We have 2 alternate endings. So this is a very interesting, bending kind of a magical realism, and with a mention of bakery also comes a lot of beautiful and mouth-watering pastry. And every chapter heading has like this really pretty pastry and what they are named. So it does make you hungry at times. And I had a really fun time reading it. It was heartbreaking, but it was also satisfying towards the end. I don't know if that makes sense, but it does. That's how I felt. There was this one quote I absolutely loved from this book. I'm just going to tell you guys that. You cannot grow new skin without being wounded first. This felt like a soothing balm to my soul, this quote in particular. So I absolutely loved all the characters that were introduced in this book. We don't get a lot of names or a lot of side characters with names. The writing was really beautiful, really simple, and the chapters are short. The book itself is very short. So definitely a book you have to read if you like a genre bending, magical, whimsy, realism book that also deals with a lot of traumatic and hard hitting topics. This book is for you if you like that. I ended up giving The Wizard's Bakery by Gu Bong Mo 4 stars, like rounded it up to 4 stars. The next book we listened to on audio was Spellcaster by Jamin Eve. I just randomly decided to start listening to all my ALCs that was available on Libro FM. So the first one I picked was Spellcaster by Jamin Eve. This is a really fun fantasy romance. It is the first book in the Weatherstone College series. It follows our main character Paisley and Logan. Okay, Paisley is the youngest of five of her siblings, all of them who are attending the same college. Her dad is a professor. Logan has been transferred into this college while he was studying elsewhere. Now, the blurb of the book says it is a dark academia, elemental magic, enemies to lovers, but it is not exactly enemies to lovers. Okay, while both their families, Paisley's and Logan's family, has a lot of history and a lot of bad blood between them, these two, they don't really hate each other. They were childhood besties, and now they are like influenced by their family's animosity, so that they are taught to hate each other, but they don't really. So that was the vibe I got from this book. We also have mentions of necromancy, and all elemental magic users who can wield all of the powers are named spellcasters. So our main character Logan is a powerful spellcaster, while Paisley, she is having some trouble connecting to any element, but apparently she will also be powerful. While I really like the family dynamics, the female friendships Paisley forms with other students in her dorm, and the banter and vibe between Paisley and Logan, and all the history and the backstory behind how Weatherstone came into place, and behind the necromancy and all the creatures and demons that are mentioned, I still felt like it lacked depth in a way. The characters and the plot and the way it was formed, it lacked depth, and I was not really impressed or immersed in this story enough. So I ended up giving Spellcaster a 3 stars. But mind you, I am still interested in what is going to happen after that ending. I am still going to pick up the next book whenever I can. If I can find it on audio, I will listen to the audiobook. The narration was really good. If you like a fantasy romance that has all these elements or tropes in it, definitely pick it up. The next book we listened to was The Book of Autumn by Molly O'Sullivan. This is a dark academia murder mystery book set in the deserts of New Mexico, which sounded really good to me. It follows our main character Marcella and Max, who are like two halves of a magical bond. So they had very fractured relationship, and after a really painful past, Marcella leaves her college, leaving Max hung and dry. And after a couple of years, she is called back to the alma mater because of a really mysterious, death and strange things happening in her college. And obviously, Max is also there. We have really unique magic that kind of bonds two souls together. So we have a forced fated bond kind of situation. And since it is a second chance romance, we also get a lot of tension, a lot of past history that is also muddling both of their decisions currently they are making. And it was a really fun read. Okay, I really liked Max and his go-lucky attitude. And a unique thing about this book is there was footnotes kind of thing after a couple of chapters, where you get the point of view of the other person involved in the conversation, especially whom she is having a conversation with or talking to, so that we can gain their perspective as well, which I absolutely loved in this book. And while Marcella is, reluctant to start anything new with Max, he is determined to win her back. Okay, the magic is losing its mind. There is something wrong with it, and they are dealing with forces they do not understand yet. So it was a really good, fast-paced story that kept me on my toes. I was really interested in knowing what was happening to all the students missing or turning up the way that they are turning up. So it was a really immersive, really good read for me. But I still had some qualms about how it was paced and how the story structure was written. So I ended up giving this book a 3.5 stars, which is still good, by the way. Okay, if you like a unique magic system, second chance romance, a forced magical bond that forces our two main characters to, confront their past, their mistakes, and what their feelings towards each other are, then you might enjoy this book more than, I did. And especially that ending, I really liked that ending, even though towards the middle we kind of hit a stale point and it was dragging a bit. That ending definitely picked up in pacing, and absolutely loved how everything was wrapped up. The next book we listened to on audio was Blackthorn by J.T. Gessinger. Now, I have a complete vlog dedicated to this book. So, if you want to hear my thoughts in lot more detail, you can go watch that. I haven't posted it yet. That vlog is coming very soon. So, I'm going to be very precise in this wrap up. It follows our two main characters, Maven Blackthorn and Ronan Croft. Okay, the Blackthorn family has always been an outcast in their small little town, and when her grandmother dies, Maven comes back to the Blackthorn estate. We follow her journey while she is grieving and while she is dealing with her history with Ronan, the relationship with her aunts, and sinister things are happening in Blackthorn. Okay, we do not realize whether it is all in her head or if there are any supernatural elements at play. Okay, because till the end, the author keeps us in a suspense. It is a dual point of view. We have Ronan's point of view and Maven's point of view. So both our main characters are really grumpy. A lot of things are happening around them, which was really interesting. I really liked the mystery element of this book. So I ended up giving Blackthorn by J.T. Gessinger a 4 stars. I absolutely enjoyed it. I'm really definitely going to be picking more works by this author. If you want to see the reading vlog, that video will be up very soon. The next book we listened to was Son of the Morning by Awake Emezi. This was one of my most anticipated reads of 2025. Did it live up to the expectations? Unfortunately, no. This book follows our main characters Galilei and Lucifer. Now, Galilei comes from a very tight-knit, closed-off family of black women, and her past and her magic has always been a mystery to her and to us as well. Now, she leaves the family and forms a really great friendship with 2 of her friends. We love female friendships. Okay, I really liked the female friendship in this book. Now, she meets Lucifer on her day out with her friends. Okay, MMC is Lucifer, who is literally the fallen angel and who is the king of hell. Now, I read this book also in the same vlog. I read Blackthorn, so all my in-depth thoughts are in that video. I really liked Galilei's family, her grandmother and her cousin, and the bond they shared. I really liked the backstory of Lucifer and Leviathan and their history with each other. And I really loved the female friendship Galilei forms with 2 of her friends. Did I love this book? Unfortunately, no. This book happens over the course of 24 hours, which felt too soon for everything to be unfolding. So I did not feel the impact of whatever the author was trying to, give us. So that was a letdown. I ended up giving Son of the Morning a 2.5 stars. I'm sad about it myself, but what can you do? It's okay. The book was not for me, or I was not in the right headspace for that book, or I expected much more from the characters and the plot and everything that was unwinding. That is okay. It happens. So we move on, pick up the next book. Now the next book. I was not planning to read this book or its sequel. Okay guys, it was a very last minute random decision that I made to pick up this book on audio before the sequel's release. The book I'm talking about is Quicksilver by Callie Hart. Now, I did pick up Quicksilver a couple of months ago while I was in a reading slump, but I did not finish the book. So, before Brimstone's release, everybody was so hyped up. I wanted to join in the bandwagon, so I picked up Quicksilver on audio and I had the physical copy of it as well. So I managed to finish this chunker of a book in 2-3 days time before Brimstone's release. Okay, I have a whole video dedicated to me reading Quicksilver and Brimstone. Okay guys, so I'll link it here in the iCards. You can go watch that if you want to know what I felt about Quicksilver. Now, after I finished Quicksilver, I immediately picked up Brimstone by Callie Hart, also on audio. Okay, I read that book. I still stand by my decision. I love Carrie and Swift, and I love Renfest, and I love Loreth more than I love Ceres and Kingfisher. Okay, please don't come at me. This is my personal opinion. Somehow, I always manage to fall in love with side characters more than the main characters. The character development in Brimstone was really good. We get a lot more introduction to plot. There are new characters introduced. I really liked the writing style in Brimstone better than Quicksilver. It felt more evolved and mature in a way. And it felt more, rounded. All the characters and the plot and everything that was given in Brimstone. the ending in Brimstone, guys, rest assured I will be continuing the Fairy and Alchemy series. So yeah, the next book I read was Quicksilver, quickly followed by Brimstone by Callie Hart. I rated Quicksilver a 3.75 stars, and I rated Brimstone a 4 stars. Even though I did not rate it 5 stars, I'm still really interested to see how the story and the plot will continue. So I will be reading this series in the future. Now, after listening to a lot of audiobooks, continuously, I wanted to pick up something from my Kindle Unlimited list, and I have heard a lot of good things about this book on my FYP page. So I managed to pick up Grave Matter by Karine Hall. I've not read a lot of horror, gothic, psychological thriller kind of books before, so I did not have any, expectations before I started this book. Okay, this book follows our main character, Sydney, who has lost everything. Okay, who has no family left, whose life prospect or study prospect is on tatters. So she accepts and goes to, Madrona's foundation, where she had the opportunity to, do a research for Alzheimer's. Okay, she lost her grandmother to Alzheimer's, so she is very interested in the research the foundation is doing. Okay, she reaches there, and everything is not as it seems anymore. She meets a really good professor, Evelyn, and there is also a moody psychologist, Wes Kincaid, who is our male main interest. This book does have a student professor relationship, but she is 25 plus, I guess. So it did not feel really, icky when I was reading the book. It does involve a lot of, plant, forest, horror, body horror, and there are a lot of secrets that we do not know. People are, not as they seem. The book was really immersive. The writing was really good. It was fast paced, and I absolutely loved all the forest animal body horror elements in it. I guess I like the genre right now. Don't Let the Forest In was one of my absolute favorites when I read it. So I think I related the forest rot horror to this book, which made me, really enjoy this book much more than I would have if I had not read Don't Let the Forest In. A shout out to CG Drews. Coming back to this book, while I was really interested in the mystery and the horror, psychological thriller part of this plot, I was not really a fan of the romance between our two main characters. While I liked the history and the way they interacted with each other and everything, the inclusion of, the kink elements, it felt unnecessary in a way. If there was no kink element in this book, the book would have been the same, in my opinion. Okay, so while I really enjoyed the other parts of the book, I was not really attracted to the romance or the way the romance or their relationship was written in this book. Towards the middle, it did kind of slow down. I was getting really impatient with, the reveals, but towards the end, it really made up for, what it lacked towards the middle, and I absolutely loved it. I ended up giving this book a 3.75 stars. It was still not a favorite of mine, but I loved certain elements that was included in this book. I don't know if the hype was real or not, but I did manage to, realize I really like reading plant horror or plant forest rot horror books in a way. So that is a plus, I guess. This next book, oh my god. I read Every Spiral of Fate by Tahara Mafi. This is the fourth book in the Woven Kingdom series. Oh my god, I have only one word to say about this book. Okay, Cyrus. That's all. You guys just need to hear Cyrus. Okay, the amount of longing, the amount of tension, the amount of satisfaction I got from this book after 3 books, we get everything we want in this fourth book. Okay, we have the confession, we have the relationship we have always wanted, we had interactions we have always longed for. The past 3 books, it was there in this book. Okay, I just tell you guys this. If you have not read this Woven Kingdom series, what are you even doing with your life? Okay, that's all. That's all the incentive you need to go pick up this Woven Kingdom by Tahara Mafi. Read the series. You will know what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm not going to spoil anything for you guys. You just know I absolutely bloody loved Cyrus in this book. If yearning had a name, it would be Cyrus. That's all. That's all. Okay? Okay. Go read the series, go read this book, and when you finish this book, you come talk to me. We can rant about everything together. And we can squeal about it like a little teenagers and little toddlers when you read this book. I ended up rating this book a 4.5 stars. I know. You might ask me, Madhu, if you love this book so much, why did you give it a 4.5 stars? I know, but you know what, guys? There were too much of side character interventions that I did not like in this book. So I'm docking a 0.5 stars for this. Okay? So I rated Every Spiral of Fate a 4.5 stars. The next book I picked up was Firebird by Juliet Cross. This has been on my TBR for far too long, and I know, guys, there are a lot of controversies or a debate going on for this book. It did when it came out, but you know what? I was sent this book, and I was too curious to know what happens and why people were having discussions like that. So I ended up reading this whole book, and I liked it. Okay, there are a lot of topics that were discussed in this book that might be a little triggering. My defense is this is a fantasy, this is a romantasy. Okay, guys, while the captive trope in this book might be triggering for a lot more people, it is not so dark. The theme is not so dark. This is my personal opinion, okay? Like, I am open to a lot of dark themes when it comes to books, so please take my opinion with a grain of salt. Okay, if you are not interested in reading this book or reading a book that has that particular trope in it, good for you, good for knowing your mental health and your own personal taste. It's okay. I ended up reading this book, so I'm going to talk about it. Now, this book is the first in the Fire That Binds Us series. This book follows our two main characters, Melina, who is a Dacian dancer, and Julian Dacia, who is the Roman general and nephew to the current emperor. These two, they do meet before the war, and he gives her a token or a coin as a remembrance because he is mesmerized by her. Okay, so after the war, things change drastically. Okay, she is branded as a witch and is sold from people to people, and she meets him again after a couple of years as a slave. Now he buys her and takes her to his mansion. Now, while this book has the captive trope in it, he does not treat her really badly. And while he is cold and he's not talking much, he has hard exterior because obviously he is a Roman general under the thumb of the emperor. He is also planning a revolution behind the emperor's back. So we get to see both sides of Julian in this book. I really like the way the relationship between Julian and Melina, progresses. Now, Julian can transform into a red dragon to be specific. So I really liked the dragon lore. While this book takes inspiration from the actual Roman Empire and the slavery concept that was existent, at that time, it does give a romantasy twist to it as well. We have a lot of dragons, we have dragon lore, we have witches. Now, our main character Melina, she is a witch who can manipulate, emotions, which comes very handy when, she is thrust into certain situations, and that's how she is branded as a witch. There is no enemies to lovers plot in it. They are in a circumstance where they are forced to showcase themselves as enemies, but they don't hate each other. They were each other's as rock and emotional support. When I do have some doubts about the actual world building and all the goddesses that are mentioned in this book, but I really like how this book ended. Okay, I thought this was going to be an actual continual series. While the plot continues, I think the characters don't. I think these are interconnected standalones with continuous plot lines. I might be wrong, but it does feel like that. The ending did feel whole in a way. So I'm really excited to, now read Bloodsinger. That's what the second book is called, I guess. Bloodsinger, the second book in this series. There were certain parts that made no sense to me, and it felt like it could have been a bit different or better. So I ended up giving this book, Firebird by Julia Cross, a 4 stars. I was also reading this book as a part of a reading vlog that I'm still filming, so that I will be posting in the near future. Now, the next book I read was Doctors Are Not Murderers by Deborah Shom and Aarti Heda. Now, I don't usually pick up books like this, which has a commentary style that almost feels like a non-fiction, but it does have some, real life stories included in it. But I was curious and I was interested in picking this book up. Now, this book follows doctors who are telling their own stories, which kind of changed them, shaped them as doctors, shaped their view of the world. It helps us, look at people working in the healthcare industry or even doctors in a different way, where whenever something goes wrong with our health, we always tend to blame our doctors for not finding it out sooner, or making some mistake. This book kind of paints the healthcare workers or doctors in a different light for us, and all the stories inside this book, they are so heartwarming. I had to take a pause because it is raining pretty heavily outside and it got dark very fast, so I just switched on my lights. As I was saying, this is not a book for everyone, okay? It does tell you all the difficulties a healthcare worker goes through, especially doctors, all the life altering decisions they have to make split seconds. So this is a very intellectual and informative book, if I can say it like that. It also gives you an inside information about how certain procedures go through, or how certain situations are thought through, how what happens inside doctor's mind when they are represented with a situation that is difficult. So I really enjoyed this book for its insight into the healthcare system. I ended up rating Doctors Are Not Murderers 4 stars. I had a really good time. I even had, conversations with one of my doctor friends, and it was really insightful. Okay, it was pretty gruesome. It was pretty hard to digest and very insightful. If you like commentary style books, which gives you all hard truths and does not sugarcoat anything, this book is definitely for you. The next book I read was Shimla Affair by Srishti Chaudhary. A whole dedicated blog for all the November TBR jar prompt picks is coming very soon. So expect a reading blog from me soon for this book. This is a historical fiction that is set in the 1950s, around the time when India is fighting for its independence from the British. It was a very emotional, heartbreaking, and heartwarming story all in one package. This book follows three sisters with very contrasting personalities, with very contrasting ideas about what their future is going to look like and what their life is going to look like. After a pretty traumatic event, things start to change. The middle sister ends up marrying a member of a revolution. The third sister ends up falling in love with a British officer, and things are not as it seems. A lot of secrets, there are a lot of betrayals. And let me just say that, okay, Nalini and Charles, I absolutely loved them. Charles might be the greenest flag ever to exist in this book. I adored that man with all my heart. This book is told from a woman's point of view, where the revolution is not more action packed or physical or seen. It is more emotionally guttering, heartbreaking in a way. If you are not a fan of historical fiction, you must read this book. Okay, if you are a fan of historical fiction, what are you doing? Okay, read it. I ended up giving this book a 4.5 stars. I know I was going to give it a 5, but there were certain things that I was not, happy about. So I ended up rating this a 4.5 stars. The next book we read was Wild Card by Elsie Silver. This was also one of the November TBR jar picks, so this is also coming in the upcoming reading vlog. This book follows our main character Gwen and Bash. They have a connection, okay, but then one single digit tears them apart. Now after a year, they meet under unfortunate circumstances and things progress from there. I really love how emotionally mature Gwen was. Unlike Bash, he was like a toddler throwing tantrum sometimes, but I really loved the relationship between Gwen, Bash, Clyde, especially Clyde because he was my favorite character. And yeah, I ended up liking this book. If you want to know more about what I thought about it and where does this book stand on the Rose Hill series rating scale, you have to go check out my blog that is coming very soon. But I ended up giving Wildcard a 4 stars. I know, but it was going to be a 5 stars because it had all the tropes and characters that I would absolutely love, but there were certain things that I despised. So I ended up giving Wildcard by Elsie Silver a 4 stars. The next book I read was The Fenris Acolyte by Ayan Pasha. Can you believe this was written by a 15-year-old? I could not, but it was. It is the truth. So I'm not going to be very harsh with the review. So this follows our main character, Jake Lawson, who is an orphan, who is a thief, and while he is, in the middle of a heist, he is kidnapped. Okay, and taken to a mysterious academy, a magical academy of chosen of the light. So there he meets his new found family, friends, and he has to fight all these demons, monsters, and he somehow magically creates a link with a wolf-like creature called Fenrir. So yeah, chaos ensue and mayhem continues. So this story is told from Jake's point of view. This is the story of how Jake, navigates everything that is thrown into his face. We have found family, we have the chosen one, we have fight to the death scenes. Sometimes there might or might not be a couple of scenes where he actually dies and comes back. You have to read the book to know how he does that. But I really liked the banter and the relationship between Jake and Fenrir. Somehow, I really liked his friendship with Theo, Andrea, and the writing style was very simple, on point. There were a lot of conversations happening, and we don't have much of any world building per se in here. And I wish we could have done the ending a bit more, elaborately, or in a way that did not feel like, like a full stop. So, yeah, while I liked certain parts of what the author gave us with this book, I felt like the book in a whole, it felt untethered. The characters, the plot, the story, everything felt separate and not rounded, and that I did not enjoy. So I think I'm going to give this 3 stars, which is not a bad rating. And since I'm not trying to be really harsh, I am going to give this book, The Fenris Acolyte by Ayan Pasha, a 3 stars. While I liked some of the points that this book made, I was not really happy with the execution, or I wish it could have been more. It was untapped potential, let's say. The book we read for the month of November was The Fire We Kept by Hrithik Manigandan. Now, I did not realize this was going to be a sci-fi dystopian kind of a movie style setting story, but when I read the back of this book, I thought it was going to be slightly dystopian. But when I started reading this book, I realized it had a lot of sci-fi elements to it, some memory altering experiments, and in a dystopian setting where memories are sentient, and I still don't understand how that is possible. But it follows our 2 main characters, Nara and Kai. They are siblings, and this is a story of the aftermath of whatever happens. Like, if you have seen all the sci-fi dystopian movies, okay, the hero conquers all, everything is perfect. But this story felt like the continuation of the aftermath of the victory, which I really liked, okay? And how all the characters involved in this book, they pick up their pieces, try to come to terms with who they were in the past and their present. Since memories in this book are kind of sentient, it acts as a separate entity almost. I was really excited to see how that would be, wrapped up, which it was done in a very, unique way. I absolutely loved the uniqueness of the story and the plot the author has here. But what I felt was the change in point of views and the change in conversations, or the scene gap we have, it felt too abrupt. Okay, we will be having a conversation with Nara or Kai or the other characters that gets introduced or they take under the umbrella, and suddenly it'll be like a couple of days later, and you need a couple of seconds to understand, okay, this is okay, we are following this person's point of view, okay, this is where they are going right now. So that was a bit, off-putting for me. It took a while for me to get to terms with. Other than that, we do have unexplained certain scenes and certain phenomena, if you could call that. I still don't understand a couple of things that happens in this world. Okay, there is Pulse. Okay, she goes there, she does that, and then when she is like done with all of that, it'll be a couple of weeks later, and then suddenly a new thing comes in. So it felt very abrupt. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Okay, this, imagine this book as a movie. Okay, you've watched till the end of the movie, and suddenly you have your end roll credits, and then suddenly another part of the movie starts again within the same movie. That's how it felt, and I don't know how to feel about that. Even considering everything that I've told you guys now, I still ended up, rating this a 3.5, 3.75 stars, because I really liked the concept. I really liked what was discussed. There were a lot of conversations that happened between everything that makes you think, that makes you like, this is the lesson we have to take away from this book. Oh, this is the moral that we have to learn from this book. That kind of a feeling, which I really liked. So I ended up giving this a 3.5 stars. Now, to the last and final book that made me bawl my eyes out and cry like a little baby, we have The Wolf and His King by Finn Longman. What do I even say about this book? This book is a retelling of the 12th century tale of Bisclavre, which is a French poem, I guess. We have a half man, half wolf, and a king who wants him. What more do you want? The writing, the characters, the emotion, the yearning in this book, the heartbreak, everything in this book made me sob. The King's POV is told from the second person point of view, and the Bisclavre is told from third person point of view. The wolf, we have another point of view for wolf. Okay, the alternate between the second person and the third person point of view will take some time for you to adjust, but the writing is an ode to medieval royalty, if you can even call it that. It felt so old, and if this book actually existed in that time, it was the dream of any bard. Okay, they would sing songs about the characters and the story and everything. Okay, there is so much in this book, so much that happens, and you will go through heartbreaks, stages of heartbreaks, and then you will get your happily ever after, which will still not satisfy you. That's how I felt. Okay, I legit sobbed. You guys, it has been so long since I sobbed over a book. I cried over a book. It has been so long, and I sobbed over this book. This book is also a part of a reading vlog that is coming very soon. So if you want to see much more, you have to subscribe and follow. Okay, click that notification bell so you will be notified when I post the vlog for this book. Okay guys, this book was easily a 6 stars. You guys, this is infinite stars. If I could make a list of top 3 books I read in 2025, this would be one of it. Okay, I love this book so much. I don't know why people haven't heard about this book or even talking about this book. Now, I am not going to shut up about this book until you guys are sick of it. Okay, I ended up giving this a 5 stars. Obviously, this is the easiest 5 stars I've ever given. Okay, this year. That's all I'm going to say. Just look at the cover. Okay, tell me you're not interested in this book just by looking at this cover. Yep. We have finally reached the end of this video. We have talked about all the books we read in the month of November. I think it is enough of ranting for me right now about all the books I read in the month of November. We managed to read, okay, I forgot how many books. I don't know how, but amidst all the busy schedule, I managed to read 16 books this November, and I'm so happy. And if you want to add any of them to your TBR, please do so. If there is any one book you would add from my TBR, okay, to your TBR and read, it would be 2. Okay, I lied. It would be 2. One is this Woven Kingdom series, and the other is The Wolf and His King. Okay, add both of them to your TBR and read it. Okay, and come rant with me. I'm there. I'll give you emotional support. We'll all rant together. If you liked this November wrap-up video, please don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you will be notified when I post all the reading vlogs in the future of all the books that I've talked about so far in this video. So, bye guys. I will see you very soon on my next video.